All right, today you're going to continue to factor, but you're going to be finding common factors. And specifically, the greatest common factor GCF of an expression is a common factor of the terms in the expression. It has the greatest coefficient and exponent. So the instructions for your practice today will be to find the GCF and then factor the expression. And some of the problems you will see today will look like 6n squared plus 9n. All right, so the first thing you want to do is look at these coefficients, which is the 6 and the 9, and find the greatest factor that goes into 6 and 9 evenly. Or, again, 3, okay? And then since 6 has an n squared and 9 has the n, both terms have an n in them, right? So you can factor out a 3n. So the 3n is the GCF, the greatest common factor. All right, it's a factor of both terms. So once you take out the 3n, then you divide it back into each term, and the quotient goes in the parentheses. So 6n squared divided by 3n, well, 6 divided by 3 is 2, and n squared divided by n is just n. All right, the original problem was plus, so this is plus. And then 9 divided by 3 is 3. And n divided by n is 1, so we're not going to write it. So here's our GCF. And this is the factored form of the expression. And just like yesterday, if you want to check this, okay, just multiply. So if you take 3n times n, you get 6n squared. All right, and if you multiply 3n times 3, you get a positive 9n. And if this product at the end is the same as the expression that you factored, then you factored it correctly. Make sense? Good. Let's take 4x squared plus 20x minus 56. Now, when you're factoring these trinomials, or you're pulling out the greatest common factor, you're looking for a factor that goes into 4x squared, that goes into 20x, and it goes into 56. All of these terms are divisible by 4. All right, 4 goes into everything evenly. So we're going to pull out the 4. That's the GCF. Then we're going to divide it back into each term. So 4x squared divided by 4 is x squared. And 20x divided by 4 is 5x. And then negative 56 divided by 4, that's negative 14. All right, and now you have to factor this trinomial. Okay, so all of this is equal to, and like yesterday when your a was negative and you factored out a -1 first, in this case when you have a GCF of 4, you factor something out of this trinomial, move it over first, because you're going to break this down to 2 binomials. All right, and since this first term is x squared, we've got an x and an x. Now we're looking for factors of 14 that we can add to 5. All right, so you got 1 and 14 and 2 and 7. Those are the only factors of 14. So since this middle term is positive, the larger factor needs to be positive. So this needs to be a positive 7 and a negative 2. Got 7, positive 7 and a negative 2 gives you a positive 5. And positive 7 times negative 2 gives you a negative 14. So here's your factored form. And 4 is your greatest common factor. Factor 7n squared minus 21. The greatest common factor would be 7. And then you're going to divide 7 back into each term. So 7n squared divided by 7 would be n squared. 21 divided by 7 would be 3. So 7 is your GCF. And all of this is factored form. Look at 9x squared plus 9x minus 18. What's the GCF here? 9, good. So you take it out and then divide it back into everything. So 9x squared divided by 9 is x squared. 9x divided by 9 is x. And 18 divided by 9 is 2. So we're going to factor this trinomial, but don't forget the 9. The only factors of 2 are 1 and 2. So they need to multiply to a negative and add to a positive. So the larger of the factors needs to be positive since this middle term is positive. So we're going to go plus 2 and minus 1. Two minus 1 is 1, and 2 times negative 1 is this negative 2. All right, so your GCF is 9, and the rest of that is written in factored form. Questions? All right, then your practice for today is on page 221, problems 32 through 37. And again, you got 10 topics this week.